the question would remain, did the Lions really need to add a pass rusher? And I think between the panel, you kind of got a mixed bag here. I think the majority of them said that they didn't really need to, but they kind of had to, given the fact that in January, December, when you're really wanting to make a run and impress and try to get, the NFC North wrapped up and you're heading into the playoffs, you're going to need somebody to help you with some pass rush. And that is Zadarius Smith. And I hope that he can stay healthy for the rest of the season. Remember, he's playing 18 games this year. He's not getting any time off, and that's going to be rough for him. I do expect, Dan and Brad to try to limit what he's doing going forward. He'll probably be a guy on rest each week, so don't let that shock you. I would expect to see Zadarius Smith at least getting an extra day of rest every single week for the next few weeks to kind of make up for the bye week. And he just may be a guy just, a little older, 32 years old, that just gets rest. I wouldn't put it past Dan to really try to take care of Zadarius Smith, because what he can do on the field is going to be very important for the Lions and their future here headed into the playoffs. I think Kyle mentioned unfinished business. And then he also said that they didn't have to make a move. And I think what he's saying there is, when you look at how the Lions have performed defensively over the last 3 weeks, they didn't really need to do anything. They just needed to stay healthy. If they stay healthy, they have found ways to win, and they have gone up against some of the better offenses in the league, and they're utilizing everything in the bag to get it done, which I think is a better way to play. If you're more multiple, you're more versatile, you're utilizing every bit of the scheme and the fronts, and I think that it's working well for them right now. Every one of these defensive players has their head on a swivel. They are now looking at themselves like, I've got to make a play. I don't have to rely on Aiden anymore. I got to be that guy. I can't rely on Derek Barnes. I got to be that guy. I can't rely on Davenport or Kaminsky. I got to be that guy now. But it's not just one guy feeling that way. I'm sure it's everybody in the room feels now that they are very important in getting in there to try to make a play for this team. And you're seeing it. Everyone's making a play. Zadarius Smith brings a different level of production. He does. And he doesn't need a bunch of sacks. He doesn't. And the reason why he doesn't is because what the Lions have been doing, which is something that I said from the very beginning that they needed, is they needed interior pass rush, right? Interior pressure, and then a really good back end. We've got two of the best safeties in the league. Our corners are actually playing pretty good ball right now. But what are we, Eric? We're like plus 10. We're first place in turnover margin. I think you're muted, buddy.
Plus 11.
Plus 11. But we're first place, right?
Yes, first in the league.
Now, Eric, you could back me up when I say this. In the very beginning of the season, even during the offseason, I said two things. Interior pass rush is going to lead to more interceptions, more takeaways, and turnovers from the back end of this defense. We haven't had Aiden, and we are getting interception after interception after interception and punching out fumbles and picking up fumbles, scoring, pick sixes with Kirby this last weekend. That's what this interior pass rush has done for us. Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, you've heard me say it multiple times.
1,000,000% correct. And I think that DJ Reader is an unsung hero.
1,000%.
He might not jump off the stat sheet. You might not see 15 sacks from DJ Reader, and you're not going to. You might see 3, and that is fine. He is a load, and he is pushing up the middle. He's holding up the offensive linemen, pushing them into the quarterback, and the quarterback's having to make horrible throws. Look at Jordan Love last week. Every time he was under pressure, he made stupid, bad throws, and he should have been picked off one more time. That one where he ran off to the side and threw the ball up anyway after running around for 5 seconds. He is so lucky that did not get picked off. If it wouldn't have been raining, I don't think I think it would have gotten picked off.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's just really important to restate, what these Lions are doing, and the defense as a whole is different. Like, this is a much different defense than we've seen before. And the fact that they're utilizing a 3-3-5, they're using the 4-3, they're using I haven't really seen a 3-4 out. It's more of a 3-3-5. But seeing even the bigger formations, right? I mean, these guys are lining up, 5 bigs is going big as they can up on the line, and they're just crushing offensive lines. And now that you got a guy with, like Zadarius Smith, who absolutely can crush the pocket. Absolutely. And that's another thing. Zadarius Smith fits exactly what we lost, which was a bigger end. He's kind of right in between a Davenport and an Aiden. He's kind of right, and I think it's a perfect mix of speed and power. He's got a plethora of pass rush skills, and techniques that he can utilize on any given moment. Great hand fighting. I expect to see a lot out of Z Smith, man. I feel like he's going to have, or has had, fallen into a perfect opportunity where the defense is playing at a high level. He's got great back end support. Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone they're just playing lights out lately. To have that back end support, he can just relax. He can just take a breath and relax and go play his game. Having that support is huge for a defensive line where they don't have to worry. If they screw up, if they get a little too deep, or, they push the pocket too much and open a hole, that they've got good back end support that's going to clean it up for them. But if they do it the right way and they get pressure, they know that back end support is going to go pick the ball off, knock a ball down, defense a pass, or just make the play. And that's what we've seen. I'm not going to get all wrapped up into the stats where it shows our defensive backs maybe are, bottom of the league again because of, how many yards they're giving up. I could care less. What I care more about is how many points are we giving up? How well are we playing in the red zone? And when we're up by a lead, of course we're going to give up, a lot of yards. That's just the nature of the game. You're not going to go in and press and stay aggressive. AG made that mistake in the NFC Championship game. No, you're going to sit back, you're going to keep everything in front of you, and you're just going to try to walk out of the game with a win. I still want to see the offense press a little bit more. In the Green Bay game, we really took the gas pedal off probably about, a third of the way into the third quarter after we scored.